Jose here with another video tutorial for wpbasics.org. In today's tutorial, we will be looking at a theme by StudioPress called Monochrome Pro. Now in this theme, we have it right here. You can see that when we have the desktop version, that we have a nice little hourglass here, or a magnifying glass I should say here, that when you click it, it brings up this nice search field and you can enter your search and so on, and it works perfectly well on desktop. When we look at it here though, and we go to see it on different sizes, we see a little bit of an issue here. So if we go down and we shrink it down a little bit like this, we now see that the magnifying glass is gone when we hit a mobile sized image. And if we click on the menu icon, we don't see the hourglass or a way to search at all. What I want to be able to do is to keep this hourglass or magnifying glass right here beside the menu word here, so that we can continue to bring up the search area even when we're on mobile devices. So what I want to do is to make it look something like this one that I've made on my sample site. So if we go into this one, let's have a quick look here. We have it here, and once we reach a mobile size, you can see that we still have the magnifying glass. If you click on it, it brings up the search. You click on it again and it closes it. And if you click on the menu, it's still working perfectly fine. So this is what we are going to learn how to do today. So let's get started. So I've gone ahead and ripped out all the code that placed the magnifying glass on the mobile, and I'll just demonstrate for you. So we can see now that it's gone. The search icon is nowhere to be found. Technically it's still there. I mean, if we go here, we inspect this area and we look at here and we check here, we can see here we have something that's set as display none, and that's referring to that magnifying glass. If we take this out, it's here. And if you're happy with that, then that's the end of it for you. I mean, you can go to line 2376 on the style.css and comment out this, and then you'll have it. But the problem with this is that, first of all, when it's collapsed, it's hard to see. I prefer it here. And the second thing is when you click it here, you get this huge whopping search field, and it doesn't look so good for my opinion. But if you like it, go ahead and do that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take this search icon and take it out of this menu, because basically as long as you have it in the menu, it's going to be difficult to put it out there. I suppose you could do it with some sort of CSS, but that's just going to be way harder. So we're going to approach it a different way. So let's put this back. So let's go back to our text editor now. So go ahead and open your text editor. So these three lines essentially is what are responsible for the output of that magnifying glass. These two lines is a filter that adds a magnifying glass at the end of the menu items. So basically it takes a look at whatever your menu is, puts them into and adds an additional list item at the end of your menu items. And this is what outputs here, that list item. So we're gonna approach it a little differently, because we don't want it to be there as a list item anymore, because that's not gonna work out for us. So let's just copy this, put a couple spaces, paste it back in, and then copy out this, comment out this first set of code. The reason I do this is in case I mess up, I can always go back easily. So that's why I do it that way. You don't have to do it that way. I just choose to do it. So now, since we're not going to be using these filters anymore, these two filters, we can just go ahead and delete them. And then this code here, we're going to not be using most of it, so we can delete some of it as well. Like this if statement, we don't need it because we're not using it as a conditional anymore. We want that magnifying glass to be there no matter what. And then these arguments were being referred to in that code that we just deleted, so we want to get rid of those. And then let's get rid of this extra space also. We want to get rid of this button, list item also, and replace it with a button. Okay, and we want to change this class to something else because we don't want it to be part of the menu item. So let's just call it BTN search and save that. And then what we want to do is we have this search toggle that this variable, but we're not doing anything with it yet. So we want to echo it out. Okay, so let's call it and then put a semicolon at the end. And now what we have is we have a function that's been created, but it's not attached to anything. So we got to tell Genesis to display it. So let's add an action. So add action, and then we're gonna hook it on to the Genesis header. So to go like that, header, and then put a comma, double quotes, and let's just copy this function so that we don't make any typing errors. Okay, and place it right inside there. And let's save that and see what we have so far. So now we're partway there. We can see we have this button here, but it's not where we want it to be, and it's not really acting how we want it to be. So let's make some changes to it. So go ahead and go to your style.css file and create a section. I created it here, but you can create it wherever you want. I created it at 2135, and I put a little comment here, search form customizations. You can call it whatever you want. I just chose to do that. So now let's call that class we had created the button search class, and let's add some customization to it. As we can see here, again, it's here and it's the wrong color, and it's also a little bit too big, and we need to adjust some padding. So let's do that right now. So the first thing we want to do is we want to float it to the right. So that's the first thing. And we want to make the background, we want to make it transparent. So let's do that. And we also want to add some padding. So let's do that. We'll put 20 pixels at the top, 9 pixels at the right, 20 pixels at the bottom, and then 15 pixels on the left. And then we're also going to give it a margin top of 5 pixels. So let's save that and see what we have so far. So we're well on our way right now. But one thing we'll see is that this button is it's blue, and we want it to be the same color as these other guys. So let's fix that. Let's go back to our text editor. So what we want to do then is we want to target the dot button search. Okay, but we want to target just the link, and let's give it a color of 0000000. That should make it black. Okay, we'll refresh that, and now it is black. The other thing we want to do though is if we go back to our desktop, for example, you see here when you float over these, they turn blue. When we float over this one, it's the icon stays black, but the background turns blue. So we want to get rid of that. So let's get back to our text editor and let's do some things there. So let's take it to BTN search, then the hover. We're going to take care of what happens when it hovers. So we're going to say that the background, we want it to be transparent. We don't want anything there. And we want also, there's a box shadow. Or is there a box shadow? Let me see. Let's save it. Let's go back, see what we have so far. There might not be a box shadow actually. Oh, there is. See, there's a box shadow. So let's get rid of that box shadow. We go like this, and we just say none. And then we want to get rid of one more thing. We want to get rid of the btn-search a hover. We want to change the color when it hovers because we want it to turn blue also like the other ones. So we want to change it to color and we're gonna give that the same color as the other links. So that color that they use is 00066cc. So let's save that. Let's go back. So if we go here, see they turn blue, and this guy is not turning blue. So let me look into why he's not turning. So let's go back to our text editor. Oh, here we go. I've got too many zeros. I think that'll fix it. Let's go back, refresh it. So blue. Still no blue. Let me have a look again. So let's go back to our text editor to see what's going on. Oh, I see here. See, it's the little mistakes that can mess you up sometimes and drive you crazy. I forgot to put a dot before btn, so it doesn't recognize it as a class. So let's save that. It should work now. Okay, so blue. Now it's working. So now let's test it out on a mobile. Is it working on a mobile? So if we shrink it, it's still there. You see that? It stays there. And if we click on it, here it is, works beautifully. Test, we enter it, searches, there you go, and we can search again, and it's working perfectly. So let's just go to the home. Well folks, that's the end of this tutorial. I hope it was useful and I hope you liked it. And if you have suggestions on how to do this in a different way, you know, shoot them in the comments and I'll be glad to have a look at it. This is just something I threw together quickly and I hope it was useful for you. Thanks and have a good day. Bye bye, and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and visit my webpage wpbasics.org. See ya.